Welcome, everybody. We're diving deep today into something that really caught my eye. Butter and dates together.
Oh, yeah.
Seems like you out there are pretty curious about it, too.
I can see why.
We're looking at the health benefits, what you can even do with these two in the kitchen.
Right.
And we've got some really interesting sources lined up for this one, an Arabic text, some articles, even a YouTube video showing how they're used.
Sounds delicious already.
Let's get to it.
All right, I'm ready.
This Arabic text we found talks about how amazing butter and dates taste together.
Yeah.
Saying the richness of the butter just goes perfectly with the sweetness of the dates.
Makes sense to me. It's not just about that, though.
What do you mean?
Well, think about it. Combining those two really balances out the flavors, you know?
Always.
And that can make a snack or even a whole meal so much more satisfying.
Yeah, that's true.
This is something you see in all kinds of cuisines. People naturally figure out what ingredients work well together.
In this combo, they're pretty versatile. We've got examples here of stuffed dates, date butter, even using them in savory tagines. Date butter on pancakes. Now that's something I never thought of.
It shows you how adaptable dates and butter are, how they've found their way into all sorts of different cooking styles.
Yeah, you're right.
Dates have been a staple in Middle Eastern and North African cooking for centuries. And of course, butter. Everyone loves butter.
That's true.
So seeing them in sweet and savory dishes both, it's not a surprise at all.
All right, let's get to the good stuff, the health benefits.
Okay.
The sources talk about dates being full of fiber, potassium, magnesium, all kinds of antioxidants.
Quite
But what do all those actually do for us?
Well, each of those plays a really important part in keeping our bodies working, right?
I see.
Like take that potassium and magnesium in dates, for instance.
Uh-huh.
Those can actually help regulate your blood pressure.
Wow.
So if someone's watching their blood pressure, they might find that a few dates actually helps keep things in check. Then you've got the fiber, which we all need for good digestion.
Great.
And it can even help manage weight.
Okay.
And those antioxidants, well, they're like our own little defense force protecting our cells from damage.
So dates are like these tiny little health packages.
Pretty much.
Okay, let's move on to butter. I know it gets a bad rap for being high in fat,
Yeah.
but the sources we have mention it having vitamins A, E, and K, and even calcium.
That's right. Butter does have its nutritional upsides despite the fat content.
So what do those vitamins do?
Well, they each have their own jobs to do.
Uh-huh.
Vitamin A is important for things like our vision and our skin.
I see.
Vitamin E helps protect our cells.
Okay.
Vitamin K is crucial for blood clotting.
Right.
And calcium, of course, everyone knows that's important for strong bones.
So butter isn't all bad.
Not at all. There's also this really interesting compound called conjugated linoleic acid, or CLA for short.
CLA. What's that?
Well, CLA is a type of fatty acid that's been linked to some potential health benefits.
Like-
Some studies suggest it might help with weight loss and maybe even improve heart health. But I do have to stress that more research is needed on CLA.
So we shouldn't get too excited just yet.
Right. We can't call it a miracle cure or anything.
So no piling butter on everything just yet?
Exactly. Moderation is still really important.
Right.
Remember, butter has a lot of saturated fat, and too much of that can have downsides.
Yeah, no.
But the fact that it has this CLA and those other nutrients, it does add another dimension to the conversation about butter's place in a healthy diet.
So we've got these two ingredients, each with their own good things going for them.
Right.
And it seems like some of their benefits actually work really well together.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, dates have potassium, which can help lower blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that CLA in butter that might be good for the heart, too.
I see what you mean.
It's like they were made to go together.
That's an interesting way to look at it. It's tempting to see them as this perfect nutritional pair. But we can't forget that the big picture is about having a balanced diet overall.
Yeah, you can't just live on dates and butter and expect to be perfectly healthy.
Exactly. There's so much more to a balanced diet than just two ingredients.
Even if they are pretty great ones.
They are. But it does make you think.
About what?
Maybe this traditional pairing has some wisdom that modern nutrition science is only just starting to catch up with.
I like that idea. You know, going through all this, what really stood out to me is just how many different ways people use dates and butter together.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just sweet stuff either.
Definitely not. One source even talked about adding them to tagines.
Tagines.
Those slow-cooked stews, from North African cooking.
I've heard of them.
Can you imagine those dates just melting into that rich sauce?
Oh, wow.
Adding that touch of sweetness to balance out the spices?
That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
I've never actually made a tagine myself.
You should try it.
I think I will now. I bet that dates and butter just add a whole other layer of flavor.
And then there's date butter.
Date butter.
It's amazing how you can take these simple ingredients and turn them into something so versatile.
What can you even do with it?
So many things. You can spread it on toast, use it as a filling for pastries, swirl it into yogurt, even use it in savory sauces.
So many options.
The possibilities are pretty much endless.
I gotta admit, date butter, that's a new one for me.
It's really good.
It sounds like the perfect way to add a little natural sweetness and that creamy texture to anything.
Exactly. And don't forget all those health benefits we were talking about earlier.
Oh, right.
With date butter, you're not only adding flavor and texture, but you're getting those extra nutrients from the dates and the butter too.
So it's a win-win.
It really is. It's like finding that perfect balance between taste and health.
You know, one of the sources mentioned that the Prophet Muhammad really liked dates and butter.
Interesting.
It makes you wonder if there's something deeper to this combination.
Well, food often has a really important role in cultural and religious traditions. And dates especially, they have a really special place in Islamic culture.
How so?
They're mentioned quite a few times in the Quran.
Oh, wow.
And people often eat them during Ramadan, the month of fasting.
I didn't know that.
It adds a whole new level of meaning to this simple pairing.
It really does. It shows that food isn't just about fuel. You know?
Exactly. It's connected to history, to spirituality, to cultural identity.
That's a really good way to put it. It's pretty amazing how something as basic as combining dates and butter can connect us to all this history and tradition.
It really highlights how important it is to approach food with curiosity and an open mind.
I totally agree. But with all this talk about the culinary side of things and the culture, we can't forget what the sources kept saying about moderation.
Oh, that's a good point. You're right. As with any food, enjoying dates and butter in moderation is key.
Okay.
Well, dates naturally have a lot of sugar, and butter, like we discussed, is high in fat.
So how much is too much? Did the sources give any specific amounts?
They did. They said for adults, a moderate serving of dates is about a quarter cup. That's like 6 to 8 dates. For kids, it's about half that. As for butter, the general recommendation is no more than 2 tablespoons a day for adults and half that for children.
Good to know. It's easy to get carried away when something tastes so good.
It is, but it's helpful to keep those guidelines in mind.
It really is. And I guess it always comes down to listening to your body and adjusting those portions based on what you need.
Absolutely. What you eat should depend on how active you are and just what your body tells you.
It's really amazing to me that something as simple as dates and butter can have so much history and cultural significance and nutritional value all wrapped up in one.
Right. It shows you how powerful food can be, connecting us to the past and present, and even potentially to a healthier future.
It also shows us that healthy eating doesn't have to be about giving up everything you enjoy or following some crazy complicated rules.
Yeah, it can be as simple as rediscovering traditional food pairings and finding pleasure in simple, wholesome ingredients.
Exactly. Embracing a balanced approach to food.
Right. One that nourishes your body and your soul.
So for our listener who's been on this journey with us, what's the one piece of advice you want them to take away from this deep dive into dates and butter?
I'd say approach food with a sense of curiosity and be willing to experiment. Don't be afraid to try new things. Step outside your comfort zone and rediscover those simple pleasures.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I'd add to that, remember, moderation is key.
For sure.
We've seen that both dates and butter have their own unique benefits, but it's about enjoying them as part of a balanced and varied diet.
Absolutely. Finding that sweet spot where taste and nutrition come together, where you can enjoy your food and nourish your body at the same time.
This deep dive has been such a fun journey, full of fascinating discoveries and delicious insights.
It really has.
I hope our listener feels inspired to go on their own culinary adventures with a newfound appreciation for the magic of dates and butter.
And who knows, maybe they'll uncover some hidden gems of their own out there.
That's the best part.
The world of food is so vast and always changing. There's always something new to discover and enjoy.
Until next time, happy exploring.